Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Malcolm Kelly has been a flat-out disappointment since his time he came out of college. I believe was a second-round pick, is with Devin Thomas that year. He's coming into his third season now. I really don't believe that he's been utilized well in that offense at all. And it seems to me that really the team is, I just don't know if they've given him a shot enough to really show what he can do, especially with the inconsistency that Devin Thomas has showed in his preparation, in his play, his practice even. It seems like Malcolm would get a little bit more of an opportunity. I know in February, Mike Shanahan said that he planned on making Malcolm a much bigger part of this offense. And so, with a guy like Kelly, he kind of reminds me of an Ed McCaffrey style of player. He's a bit taller and lengthier. But, Ed was really good in Mike Shanahan's system. Obviously, he had John Elway. But even after John Elway, he was a productive fantasy receiver. He was a top 15 type receiver for fantasy for a long time. And so with a guy like Malcolm Kelly, it's really just going to come down to, is he going to get a chance to start? And so really the key here, I would think, for him is it looks like Santana Moss may get suspended to start the season for HGH use. And I would really think that's key for him. As long as the team doesn't go out and do something like sign Terrell Owens or anything like that, and they are going to roll with what they have right now, I would suspect that Malcolm, if and when that suspension does come to pass, that Malcolm's going to get a chance to start. Devin Thomas is a guy that a lot of fantasy people are talking about as the sleeper on this team to watch out for. I have my concerns with Devin. Not that Devin does not have talent. You want to see a guy like that right now doing everything. He's fully committed. The light bulb's coming on. He's doing all the things he needs to do in OTAs and practice to show his coaches, his new coaching staff, and Kyle and Mike that he is the guy, to show Donovan McNabb that this is the guy that you need to pay attention to in this passing game to get the ball to on a regular basis. And I'm just not hearing that out of Washington. There's writers that are being critical of him, saying that he's not doing much to impress the coaches. And this is the kind of in and out play that we saw from Devin, or practice, or reports that I would hear from Devin. There'd be times where there's good and there's times where there's bad, and he fades out and he lacks focus. And for a guy to be a fantasy sleeper, that is not the foundation you want to hear. And so with Kelly, I haven't heard a whole lot of news out of him. I'm waiting to hear more. But if he is showing that he can start progressing and showing more, becoming more of a viable option, it may be Kelly that is the guy that breaks out and not Thomas this season in his third year. We're going to have to see. It's a long way to go from here. It's just an OTAs. This is going to come down to something we're going to have to pay a lot more attention to once we really start getting into training camp. And I think when we get into training camp, preseason, then we're really going to start to see this battle shake out. Right now, a guy like Devin can still definitely recover from maybe a disappointing OTA here, and a guy like Kelly can definitely take him over in training camp, but we're going to have to see a lot. So obviously this is a situation we'll pay attention to a lot this summer, late in the summer, as we're getting in deeper into August and things, as we're getting closer to our draft days. We'll update you on this type of situation and what's going on, how we're hearing things shake out. Right now, Kelly is obviously not a start guy that you want to pay attention to for your draft. However, if he should make those strides again to maybe unseat Devin, or we do find out for sure that Santana is going to face maybe a 4-game suspension of something of that sort, then Kelly's a guy that you might want to roll the dice on in the later rounds for your team and hold on, see if he does something there. But we do know with Donovan McNabb there and the Shanahans, somebody's going to be productive, and probably more than one guy with that kind of structure. They don't have a great offensive line, but at the same time, they have a good schedule to pass against.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football.